Right, so the question reads: Grace is a qualified accountant currently earning 140,000 per year. She is considering opening a clothing boutique. The boutique requires an investment of 600,000 drawn from her personal savings, which currently earn interest at 9% per annum at Stanbic Bank. The boutique is expected to generate a total revenue of 380,000 per year with explicit costs of rent, wages, stock of 120,000 per year. Number one, identify all implicit costs and compute the total implicit costs of the year. Colleagues, what do we understand by the definition of implicit cost? Remember, yes, yes, go ahead, madam. Yes, you can say that. You can say that. Okay. Okay. We just need to add spice on your answers, okay, madam? You need to add paprika, barbecue spice. Anybody else before I interject? Oh, yes, Mr. Mwenya. Good evening. Yes, 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 that's actually true. So let's put it like this, colleagues, okay? Implicit costs, these are opportunity costs, okay, colleagues? These costs, you don't pay for them out of your pocket, okay? Opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is the cost of what you give up whenever you make a choice, okay? Cost of what you give up when you make a choice, okay? So, and then explicit costs, these are out of pocket costs, costs you actually pay for. You're using money to pay for these costs, okay? Out of pocket costs, costs which you actually pay for, okay? Out of pocket costs. Implicit, they're not out of pocket. You don't pay for this cost, no. Okay, but it's an opportunity that you have given up. It can be money, it can be other things. Okay, it's not only implicit cost. Remember this, it's not always money. Okay, they can also be other things. Okay, but explicit costs are always money. So in this scenario here, this madam here, right? She wants to start a boutique. Okay, so we have to find out what are the costs of what she gives up when she decides to make this boutique. What is she giving up when she's choosing to make this boutique? Colleagues, what's the first thing she's giving up? Because remember, I don't like to spoon feed. Spoon feeding, especially in the third year, is not advised, colleagues. Did you know that? Spoon feeding in third year is not advised. It was only in first year. So if you're not with me in first years, you missed the spoon feeding classes where you're just being spoon fed. This, that. Yes. Anybody, before I interject, what is she giving up when she's when she chooses to venture into this salon, or is it a boutique? Yes, this 140,000, that is one thing she's giving up. What else? The interest she's earning from this money she has in the bank. Because now she has to remove that money from the bank, and use it for the boutique. Okay. She has to remove that money from the bank and use it for the boutique. So the interest that she would have earned that year, if she kept the money inside, she would have earned some interest that year. But since she's getting this money out to invest it, she's lost interest. All right. So the foregone salary, all right, the interest also foregone. Okay, it's 9%. Okay, so 9% of 600,000. Colleagues, let's also have our calculator so that we make sure these figures are also accurate. Okay, because other people, they just what are the answers. When they see the question in the exam, they just start writing. And if this answer was a mistake, they'll put the wrong answer. So 600,000 multiplied by 0.09. Yes, 54,000. Okay. So the total implicit costs 140,000 plus 54,000, 194,000 kwacha. Any questions, colleagues? That is part one. Okay, part two. Calculate the boutique's accounting profit and its economic profit. So, colleagues, yes, what is the difference between accounting profit and economic profit? And after you know this difference, in your daily life, will you be focusing more on accounting profits or economic profits whenever you're making choices? So, yes, let's begin. What is the difference between an accounting profit and economic profit? Yes. Okay, yes. Economic profit, total revenue minus implicit and explicit costs. Okay. Economic profit is the total revenue minus explicit and implicit costs. Explicit plus implicit plus explicit costs. That's economic profit. Then accounting profit is total revenue minus explicit costs. Okay. So whenever I make decisions in life, colleagues, all right, think of also the economic profit, okay? Also think of the economic profit because you're factoring in everything that you are losing out by making that decision, and you want to see, is this decision okay or not? So the accounting profit is easy. It is just this 380,000 per year minus the explicit costs. Okay. Accounting profit, as you can see here. Okay. Total revenue minus explicit costs. The total is the explicit costs, 120,000. The total revenue, 380,000. So the accounting profit, 260,000 per year. Then economic profit. All right. We're now including also the implicit costs. Okay. So it's the revenue, total revenue minus explicit plus implicit costs. All right. So 120,000 plus 194,000. Okay, you get 314,000. You're going to say 380,000 minus 314,000. You're going to get 66,000 per year. That is the economic profit. Any questions, colleagues? Are we clear on this part? All right. Using your results, advise whether she should open the boutique, whether she should open a boutique, and then what additional information might change your recommendation. So before I give my answer, colleagues, yes, what would you advise this woman here? Would you advise her to go on with the business, or would you tell her don't go on with the business? Let me hear first. I want to hear everyone's intake. We'll start with Madam Anne. Madam Anna. Madam Anna, would you advise this Madam Grace to continue with her business, knowing that she's got a positive economic profit of 66,000 and an accounting profit of 260,000 per year? Would you advise her to go with this business? Madam Audrey? Mr. Chisomo? Yes, Madam Audrey? Hmm? I haven't heard what you've said, Madam. Yes, even me, I agree. She should open the business. Why? Why would you say she opens the business, Madam? Her accounting profit is higher than the salary she used to earn per year. But also, and also the economic profit is positive. Usually, if the economic profit is positive, it's a good idea. Okay, unless when it's negative, it should let you know that that's a bad idea because what it's telling you is probably those implicit costs, giving them up is going to have a cost, is going to affect you. Okay, so main factor here is because the economic profit is positive. Okay, it is positive. And you can also add on to say, okay, accounting profit, that 260,000 is greater than the salary she was even earning. Okay. Yes. Mr. Marcus, would you advise Madam Grace? Remember, you can also say no, colleagues. Someone once told me in life there's no such thing as a wrong answer. Is that true, colleagues? That in life there's no such thing as a wrong answer? Yes, Mr. Mwenya. Yes, Mr. Mwenya. Okay. Yes. Yes. Then they asked this part where they said, what additional information might change your recommendation? Okay. So, for example, if she doesn't make those sales, because it's not guaranteed that she's going to make those sales that year. Okay, colleagues, you can forecast and say, okay, I'll make this. This is my total revenue. This is then find in actuality you make a loss. All right. Yes. So, however, the recommendation could change after obtaining the information that whether Grace must leave her accounting job immediately, the reliability of the projected 380,000 revenue, which is I was just talking about here. You can project it, but it doesn't mean in actuality that would be the case. Okay. You have to also factor in taxes, license, insurance, and utility costs. All right. Depreciation of furniture, equipment, and fittings. Okay. Possible increases in rent, wages, and stock prices. So those explicit costs. What if the next year they become more and they grow? In fact, they can start eroding your profit. Right. The the number of hours Grace must devote to the boutique, because at least at Stanbic she was knocking off going at 8, knocking off 17. Now with a boutique it means sometimes because when you're an entrepreneur sometimes it means more working hours, no rest on the weekends. All right. Yes, those are some of the information that might change.